I think that the cuts on corporation tax are missing a point because we need that money. We need that money at the moment.
Would you reverse it?
Hold on. Inheritance tax.
Would you reverse them?
I think that at the moment, the cuts in corporation tax, the cuts in inheritance tax, the cuts in capital gains tax.
But what's the cut in capital gains tax?
But what's really important, Andrew...
No, excuse me, I'm asking you a question.
Cutting at a time where we need those services and people need those services is the wrong decision to make.
But I'm asking you, would you reverse the cut in corporation tax?
But I'm telling you, Andrew, that our priority is
you're not telling me the question.
I am.
Ever had that sinking feeling when you're caught talking smack about your boss? Well, Angela Rayner just stepped into a political hot tub of her own making, and boy is it getting steamy.
Andrew Neil, armed with nothing but facts and a stern look, cornered Labour's deputy leader faster than you can say rubber ducky. Rayner's attempt to dodge questions about dissing her boss left her splashing around for answers like a toddler in the deep end. Grab your popcorn, folks. This political bath time is about to overflow. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now, back to the video. Picture this. Angela Rayner, Labour's deputy leader, is splashing around in her political kiddie pool, thinking she's safe from the big bad sharks of British politics. She's been riding high lately, dropping zingers left and right like she's the queen of political comedy.
What would Labour do?
Well, we've already talked about, I mean, some of the taxation decisions that the government have made around inheritance tax, capital gains tax, corporation tax, where you've given away money. Okay. This is what Jeremy was talking about in Prime Minister's question today. We treat our older people at the moment like dogs. It's a disgrace. We shouldn't do that.
But, excuse
we should
me,
be investing and putting the money in the primary care
Would you
services.
reverse the cuts on corporation tax?
You've given away money that actually, quite frankly, we need to spend. And it's not just about an ageing population. That is phony. People know about the ageing population for some time. We've cut the criteria so people can't get community care.
Little does she know, there's a fin circling in the water, and it belongs to none other than Andrew Neil, the great white shark of political interviewers. Neil starts circling Rayner, asking about reports that she said Starmer couldn't run a bath. Uh-oh, looks like Rayner's rubber ducky just sprung a leak. You can almost see the air whooshing out of her inflatable ego as Neil keeps pressing. Will our plucky deputy leader sink or swim? Now, Rayner's known for being a bit of a loose cannon, always ready with a spicy comment or two, but this time, she might have bitten off more than she can chew. It's like she brought a water pistol to a shark attack. As Neil keeps circling, the water's getting choppier by the second. Rayner's trying to stay afloat, but her usual tactics aren't working. She's splashing around, calling the whole thing tittle-tattle, but her non-denial is about as convincing as a paper boat in a tsunami. You've got to wonder what's going on in Labour HQ right now. Are they watching this train wreck through their fingers, or are they frantically Googling how to remove foot from mouth?
They did that as part of the coalition government.
No, they raised the capital gains tax in the coalition government.
Well, what I'm saying, Andrew, and
what you're saying is wrong. They raised the capital gains tax to 28%.
What I'm saying, you've cut, and do you know what? Debt's rising, and the amount of money that's going into the economy, you know, you've not made it better. Our economy is worse as a result of 6 years of austerity and tax cuts to absolutely the richest in the country at the same time where they've told the poorest people in this country over the past... It is true.
Either way, it's not a good look for a party that's trying to present itself as a united front. The whole situation is like a political version of Jaws, but instead of a beach, it's Labour's chances of winning the next election that might be closed. And Rayner, well, she's looking less like the fearless deputy leader and more like the panicked swimmer yelling shark, while everyone else rolls their eyes. But here's the kicker. This little bath time blunder isn't just about Rayner putting her foot in it. It's raising some serious questions about Labour's ability to keep their ducks in a row. If they can't even agree on who can run a bath, how are they going to run the country? Just when you thought Rayner had splashed her way out of hot water, Andrew Neil decides to cannonball into her grand housing plans. Rayner's been bragging about Labour's big idea to build 1.5 million homes by 2029. Sounds impressive, right? Well, hold on to your rubber duckies, folks, because Neil's about to burst this bubble bath faster than you can say overflowing tub.
We've got to cut our coffee. No, let me finish this point because you've interrupted me and I want to make this point. It's really serious to people in this country that you've told people we've got to live within our means. means we've got to have this austerity, we've got to cut. Now you're saying all of a sudden we can spend money.
No, hold on.
And that's wrong because you're spending it.
You're just off now.
No, I'm
let
not
me bring
just
you
off,
back
Andrew,
to
because it's
let me
quite
bring you
serious,
back
because
to
people
the
are
question.
national-
What would the capital gains tax be under a Labour government, and how much would that raise compared to now?
But I've told you, Andrew, what our priority is. It's about how we invest in our public services.
No, I'm asking you how you would raise the money.
Neil starts drilling holes in Rayner's numbers like a plumber gone rogue. He's not buying what she's selling, and honestly, who would? It's like trying to sell a leaky bucket as a luxury spa. Rayner tries to stay afloat, tossing out buzzwords like investment and priority like they're inflatable armbands. But Neil's not letting her doggy paddle her way out of this one. The facts aren't exactly on Rayner's side here. It's like she's trying to build a sandcastle with wet cement. The Center for Cities think tank, probably the party poopers of the construction world, are warning that even if private builders work their hammers off, the government could still come up short by nearly 388,000 homes. That's not just missing the target. That's like aiming for the dartboard and hitting your own foot.
Decisions that the government have made and the decisions on where they're spending current money is completely inappropriate.
So how much would you save?
You've cut 50%. In my constituency, both of my councils have seen over 50% cuts to their budget. You've told the people in this country over the last 6 years, we've got to cut our coffee. No, let me finish this point because you've interrupted me and I want to make this point. It's really serious to people in this country.
By changing the corporation tax and changing the capital gains tax to raise
cut,
more money.
You don't cut taxes when you need that
How
money
much?
to help. You should be investing.
You don't know, do you?
You should be investing
You just
in those
don't know, do you?
services in our areas where it's required. They're spending, they're cutting tax for those that the richest, and they're spending money in the wrong places.
But wait, it gets better. The UK is facing a shortage of skilled construction workers that would make Bob the Builder throw in the towel. We're talking about needing an extra 250,000 workers by 2028 just to keep up with demand. At this rate, they'll be recruiting toddlers from the sandbox to lay bricks. Neil keeps pushing, asking where the money's coming from and how they'll handle the worker shortage. Rayner's starting to look like a cat that's been thrown in the bath. All claws and no idea how to get out. She's struggling to give straight answers about how labor would raise funds through changes to capital gains tax and corporation tax. It's like watching someone try to explain quantum physics while riding a unicycle. Entertaining, but not very convincing. And let's not forget the cherry on top of this policy sundae: high building costs and increased mortgage rates. It's enough to make even the most optimistic developer curl up in the fetal position. Housing associations are running out of cash faster than a teenager with their first credit card, and they can't even sign up for new developments. Well, folks, it looks like Angela Rayner's political bubble bath has turned into a full-blown sink or swim situation. After her splashy interview with Andrew Neil, Labour's credibility is taking on water faster than the Titanic. Critics are saying Rayner's performance was about as prepared as a toddler's finger painting. Messy and hard to explain. But hey, at least she's consistent. Can't run a bath, can't run an interview. Maybe she's just allergic to running in general. The real question is, will Labour voters still trust a deputy who's doggy paddling through policy questions? One thing's for sure, Rayner might want to stick to rubber duckies and leave the shark-infested waters to the big fish. At this rate, Labour's election hopes might just go down the drain faster than you can say political flush.